Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. I think in this century, in this age, the days of burning cars, or rather staging violent acts during protest to portray legitimate protests as violent, that script, or rather that strategy, worked in the past. But this time round, it was used to wink our parents. But I think the administration, or rather the powers, must understand that you are dealing with a different group of people. And I'm talking about this because what happened in Nairobi CBD today is just a classical case of a genuine and legitimate protest infiltrated by goons. And this is a very normal, or this is a very usual script used by the state actors. So in this podcast, I'm going to comb through the events of the day. And also, in this podcast, we are going to look at the protests. What happened? The goons planted, and why the state is putting that strategy. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our videos, and thank you very much for supporting our podcast. I always say that we have in-depth analysis, and of course in this podcast we don't just rush into saying it. We must do our research and make sure what we present to you is a well-researched video. And so I know you've seen those video clips going around in social media. You need an interpretation. What happened where and what was it? This is the podcast that you should watch to the end. This video you are seeing here was taken around 3 p.m. Kenyan time. And this is a video of Kenyans in their numbers going all the way, and it was taken around Kenyatta Avenue. In their numbers, by 3 p.m., Kenyans, the numbers at Nairobi CBD was relatively high. And I think what happened is that by this time, those who were in offices were already leaving. Remember, when the protest started in the morning, the number was a little few people in small groups. But then when the people that do business in town and the other people that work around town realized that the situation was hostile, they closed shop and they were trying to find their way out. But even before getting a bus, they joined the protest. And this is the number. So since morning, of course, the protesters were engaging the police in, some hide and seek games. When they take this street, police goes to that end, they take to this other end. But again, I want to recommend what I saw. When you look at the photos, when you look at these photos and a couple of videos, you will understand that in Nairobi CBD, there were actually genuine protesters. Genuine protesters were in Nairobi CBD. And when you listen to the songs and the chants that they were making, the call was, Lagat must go. Look at the placards. Remember, they bought the Standard headline that had the story on the killer squad. So this was a and you will understand, because I want to demonstrate to you so that you see the protester and the goon. If you look at these clips and these photos, you'll actually agree with me that indeed there was a genuine person who went to town to protest. I saw the guys in the black shirts Of course, that is just to show there are so many other civil society organizations that were so much around the case of Albert, and they might have facilitated, because most of the protest was organized from the Mathare Justice Center. They might have facilitated some young people to go and join the protest. Things went south here. And I want you to pay attention. Look at this video. This is a video of alleged goons making their way to town. You know, I want you to look, you see them covering face and one boda carrying them. One boda carrying more than one there. I want you to pay attention to that because there is that which I'm going to show you hapa mbele. This had happened. And this is a photo of this, a video that was captured. The good thing with the current environment we work in is that we're in a digital age. And the instruction is normally very clear. Whatever you take, always make sure you have a video or a photo of it. And someone took a video of this group. I want to believe they were taking this video probably to show their master that they're making their way to town. So somewhere in the middle, in the thick of everything, I want you to look at this video.
Hey, tulia. Acha bwebwe, tulia. Umechoma bro, gari yenyewe.
These are goons vandalizing these two cars. This is a very interesting scene. I want you to pay attention to this scene. These two cars were vandalized by goons. And after vandalizing them, they set those two cars on fire. Immediately, this was done. And of course, the state players now started from this point. They used this video clip to condemn that how is banning these cars seeking justice for none other than Albert Omondi. And we totally agree. Banning these cars is not part of justice for Omondi. But banning these cars is a script to make sure that what otherwise are peaceful and genuine protests are soiled, criminalized, and condemned by the members of the public. Those who touched these two cars, you can, and that is why I started by showing you, there were genuine protesters, and you can compare. Those people dancing and smiling, those people carrying placards. Do you think those ladies can go to that extra mile? Kuchoma yo gari. And of course, what would they gain? Kuchoma gari. It was vandalized. People took what they think they could get from it. And after that, they set it on fire. So we tried to do some fact check. The fact check, KAR, there are two cars there. There is KAR 6336D. And the report here is, there was erased from NTSA records in 2017, and the plate belonged to an Isuzu 206 model of lorry. that the plate, the number plate there is a fake number plate. Number one. This KBR, those are the two cars, the number plate is KBR 954G, was also removed from the NTSA records in 2020, and it belonged to Narok-Line, a 14-seater PSV Matatu. That is the information that is coming out. And that is to show you, and of course, one of the things that was so clear here is this. This vehicle is being banned. These two vehicles are being banned. I'm not seeing the owner crying or the owner around that place. Because I believe ordinarily, hata kama umepark gari yako na gari yako inachomwa na hawa vijana, sasa unaweza enda kujaribu kuongea na wao, jamani, mimi nimepark tu gari yangu, mbona mna. You cannot see the owner in the picture. You cannot see the owner in the picture. And I want you to look at this screen grab. This screen grab here is a screen grab of two people, one person at two different places. One point, this character amebebwa na ile gari, amebebwa na ile, is amongst the goons who are being ferried in town, akiwa kwa pikipiki. On this same frame, on frame 2, akivaa nguo the same, you can as well see this same person. Actually, you can see this same person doing something else, but now vandalizing the car. And that is why this has to be done in a different manner. And the call for justice is not misplaced. Let me show you. When you analyze the videos in town, one observation you'll make is this, that police were engaging protesters in running battles. But look at this video. When you look at this video, these are goons vandalizing shops, and to be specific, they were trying to vandalize a KCB bank.
Mira, kwa hivyo kile na hapa mbaya sana.
There. But then people normally think you can vandalize and get, maybe you can get away with some laptops which can be traced, but you cannot even get money. You cannot see police presence there. Kama kuna mahali tear gas should be thrown, is because those are thugs. But then in a genuine protest, it's normally infiltrated by the two characters. One is a goon, a hired goon we kuja upige hawa ama kuja ufanye hii. The other one is a thug who are always in town every day. Thugs are always looking for opportunity where they can steal one or two. These fellows are not in protest. You can see them carrying rungus. You can see them carrying rungus. Can you say that these are protesters who now turned thugs? No. It is not in their interest to pursue justice for Albert. It is their interest to use the opportunity to collect the few little things they can get around. And from this, a more reinforcement was done, and you can see the encounter between protesters and the police. So, do you know, look at this photo, and I've shown you all this. Do you know that this lady known as a 22 is a 23-year-old Lucy Nelima? I have her phone number. She was shot in the CBD. She's just a food vendor. And she was taken to Bangadi Hospital, but could not be detained because of money issues. I'll make, after things settle, I'll try to look for Lucy Nelima. And we told just a food vendor, and we'll just check into how she's doing and see if I will try to have one-on-one with her just to find out what exactly happened to her. This is how she was taken to Mbagathi. It's called as Lucy Nelima. Shot, and not really amongst the protesters. And one thing that we really need to say, and I think I made it in my first video. I think I made it in my opening statements. That the days of soiling, instead of, if all this is being done, and the people there are just asking, they're making a simple question, a simple demand, Lagat to resign. Between one person leaving the office and putting the lives of thousands of Nairobi residents and businesses at risk, tomorrow, the political class will start making comparisons. You guys went for peaceful protest. Was that peaceful protest? Instead of putting businesses at risk. Remember, protesters don't have control over goons and thugs. They might only have control over fellow protesters because they know them. But over goons, they don't have control over goons. Those who have control over goons and thugs are the security agencies. But whichever way, there are always lapses. So the question you need to ask is, between the demand for Lagat to resign and all this risk, which was the best option? And you can answer that question yourself. Why is this script being put? Sonko once told us that they used to do it. Yes. Sonko went live sometime here and he told us that, told the country that they used to do, they ban it so that they can blame it on opposition as being violent. And this is why this script is here. And I think it's a very, it's an escapist strategy. Number one, the strategy is to scare civilians from joining the protest. Because I want you to imagine our parents who are, have a sense of responsibility, a big sense of responsibility, just watching from home. Wanaona gari ya mtu imechomeka. Or even the middle class. They check and they see gari imechomeka. If a protest is called the next day, will they go? They already have an opinion, a formed opinion that the protests are violent. And so, it is not a safe place for them. And remember, you will understand that on this Albert case, it really attracted the interest of the country at large. The second objective I can see here, the Goons script is normally a scheme to justify police actions. Police actions. And what am I saying? When there are protests, things do happen. There are police elements that go. Their work is just to beat people left, right, and center. And I saw those incidences. So when the violent acts, tuseme mtu akishutiwa ama something happens, watasema, hawa walikuwa nafanya hii, so maybe walikuwa nataka kufanya kitu ingine. But I need to put up a comment. I followed through the day's event, and truth be said, the conduct of the police at Nairobi CBD was very, they tried to restrict themselves. And I think when I did my first video, I said that security agencies, the best they should do is to restrain from, don't kill one, don't hit any. Because that is what brought August 2025. But the August 2025 was when the photo of Rex was paraded at Rex amewawa na alikuwa kwa city mortuary. When that photo went viral, hiyo ndio iliharibu mambo. So I think today they tried. I saw incidences of members of public provoking, and of course, we need to make it this. We must also be responsible. I saw a lady trying to kwenda kunyang'anya polisi ile nini amevaa. some of those things are fun, but that is what provokes some of those reactions. But generally, they try to restrain, despite of incidences of here and there, of course, even the shooting of Nelima. But there's a bit, they try to restrict themselves. Number 3, vandalism is to create public anger against protest. Because I want you to imagine those people who do businesses in Nairobi. If someone calls protest tomorrow, they'll have to be defensive. Because again, that is what feeds them. So when these things happen, when magari, people who do will then have to fear. But interestingly also, violence is normally used to make sure that people are scared and leave town, because we are in a digital age. Gari kuchomeka huko, everyone in town is normally glued on his phone, just wants to know what's happening. Akiona hiyo, anafunga shop anaenda. So that's also a scare strategy to make sure that people don't join that stand. And I think protests are branded as non-Albert aligned, and which is not the true position. So ladies and gentlemen, that is my take. And I believe justice, we should not blink on justice for Albert, because I said it. What is happening in these protests is a culmination of anger. And when we analyzed last year's protest, I said the fact that you have Raila Odinga in broad-based government is not a guarantee that people cannot protest. In fact, if there can be a wave of protests, and we are not praying for Arab Springs, but if there can be a wave of protest, it can be more dangerous. So on this, I think someone should not sit back and say, we've had protest, wamechoka, imeisha, the turnout was low, this and that. You should not have those peripheral analysis on that protest. The point should be, people came out and showed their aggression. That is just one. And it means that state is very delicate and very perishable. A little thing that can unite do you know, even in Homa Bay there was some protest, even though the police neutralized it. So I strongly believe we cannot, the country, the state cannot afford to drop the ball on Albert's justice. I've listened to the proceedings. Everything goes back to that. We cannot afford to lose our sight on that. Thank you.
Last week, the senator of Turkana stood on the floor of this house with a statement inquiring about the death of 40 fishermen who were killed and left in the lake, and 4 other individuals who were detained and then killed thereafter. And not a single senator requested for a special sitting for those 44 individuals. Not a single senator. Not this country begged for questions about the death of those individuals. Not the main media, not even on the social media. So it begs the question, are there some Kenyans who are more equal than others? Are we to believe that we are brothers and sisters or cousins in that matter? Or maybe there are cousins who are more equal than others? Or is a death of a young man such as Albert Ojwang an opportunity for political expediency? Whether on the main media or the social media? And you know, Mr. Speaker, people will label me whatever they want to label me. They would say I am part of the system, that I am a brother to so-and-so. But Mr. Speaker, I was a patriot of this country before I came to the Senate. I was a patriot before any of my relatives living is serving in any part of this government. I was a patriot, and I have personally fought for this country. I have personally put my life on the line for this country. So whether I'm related to anybody, it is not the issue here. The issue is, as a country, can we be so sincere to each other and agree that we are brothers and sisters, or tell us of certain regions that there are people who are more brothers than we are. I have a case of 6 youths in Garissa, 6 youths between the age of 18 to 21, who were brutally murdered on the road in Garissa. Brutally murdered, execution style, told to bend down, kneel down, and shot in the head, in the back of the head. Until today, it's been 2 years. Until today, we don't know if it's whether it is a security apparatus who killed them, or it was a criminal organization that killed them. We don't know. We don't know. But we've not had, not the human rights organization, not the civil society, not the media houses, have ever decided to pursue justice for those 6 people. If this continues, some of us, or some senators here, will feel disconnected from the rest of the country. And we will not feel for the pain of some people, which will turn us to less of a human. We all believe that a life, any life, is important.